Well, it's another nice rainy day in the shop today. In today's video, my goal is to create some storage to store my nail guns and my staple guns on the tool wall behind me. So everything laid out here is what I want to be able to get into a single cabinet to hold it all. And here comes the rain. It is picking up. So like most of my projects, I search the web and YouTube to get inspiration for what kind of solution I want to apply to solve this problem. For this particular one, DIY Tyler and Dreadnought Woodshop both had a nail gun rack that I really liked, but they approached it in two slightly different ways. So what I ended up doing is taking the pieces I like of both of those and combining them into one. So my goal is to create a cabinet where there are stalls on top of it that's the nail guns and the staple guns can sit in vertically. And then I want to provide two drawers below that. One drawer for all of the nail gun nails and accessories, and another drawer for all the staple gun and staple accessories. So that's our plan. So let's see how this turns out. So here's the idea I came up with in Fusion 360. As you see, the top kind of has the stalls based off the design from Dreadnought Woodshop build drawers that will slide into these shelves. That's kind of coming from DIY Tyler's design. I know that I want to have my drawers be 3 inches deep, so I know those measurements. But as for the rest of the dimensions, I roughed it out in Fusion 360 with the idea that now I'll actually measure the actual nail guns and figure out what my dimensions need to be. Like I see it as these first two stalls would be for the staple guns, which I'm going to provide 2 inches each for those to slide into. And then I want to create 3 stalls. Even though I have 2 guns, I at least want to build a third one just in case I add another nail gun in the future. I'll have a spot for it. So that all being said, let's start with, I think the depth of the case would be, this is my largest gun. So we're going to probably go, stand that up, 13 inches. So I don't want any of the gun to hang off of the rack. Width-wise for the stall, I see it being, I'm going to go 4 inches for that one. And I'm going to go 3 inches on that one. And then height-wise, so again, going with the tallest gun. Probably I'll do 11 inches tall. Here to here, I want to go 11 inches. We're looking at 18.5 tall for the case, 13 inches deep, and then wide, we're going 17 wide. So there's our measurements. Now let's start cutting out some pieces and see if we can get this assembled. Okay, Google, play some music. Okay, here's where we're at. We got all of the pieces for the case cut to final dimension. That was a little bit more work than I expected because I did not think I was going to have enough plywood to make it out of, but I did find a piece of 1/2 inch plywood buried in my wood stack over there. But that piece of plywood did not have a square corner anywhere on it. So that added to a little bit of complexity to rough cut it to actually get it square before I cut it down to the final dimensions of the boards that I'm using. Also, the piece of wood had a little bit of a bow to it, so it's going to be interesting to see. It seems to be relatively flat now as I've cut them down to size, but we'll see if that becomes a pain later when I'm assembling the case on if it's going to give me a problem or not. Now next, I'm going to route dados for all of the pieces to sit into. So in the video where I made my sanding station, after I put that together, I kind of regretted not doing dados for those shelves because it actually made it a little bit harder to get the shelves assembled and lined up. So for this project, I'm definitely going to use dados so everything will pull together nicely when I clamp it up and stay in place where it needs to be. Also, I hope those dados will not only make the case a little more rigid, but also help with any of the warping that still might be in this plywood to help straighten it out. And I'm also going to use a CNC to cut out at least one of the dividers to get that profile. So I'm going to cut down the CNC so I can get an accurate shape in place, and then from that one, use as a template to cut the other 3 dividers, as well as to put it onto my 2 sides, and use my router with a pattern bit to trace that out, because that'll go much faster than if I tried to cut all of these on the CNC. That's the next plan, so let's get to that cutting. Okay, so I got my profile cut on my CNC that I was going to use with my router to cut the profiles for the rest of the top pieces. But as I got it off, I was looking at it going, that looks a little short. That's odd. Yes, that is short. I'm like, what's going on? Well, if you remember, my comment earlier was I said I roughed this out on Fusion 360, and then I did the actual dimensions later as I measured it, wrote them on the paper. When I went back in to create the G code to cut this profile out, I used the model as it was and did not change the dimensions of it to match what I had measured earlier. Thus, this matches what my drawing was, which is not what my actual size needs to be. Fun. Back inside, I got to fix my model to put it to the right dimensions, generate new G code, and back to CNC and cut it all over again. So this makes it. These are the fun parts of the project when you get to do it a second time for extra practice. So here we go again. Second time around, that's much better. You can tell that there was a little something off on that first one. Much too small, so we don't need that. So here is the actual final pattern we're going to use. And here I've kind of started marking out where on the sides I'll do my rabbits, 2 dados, and then I have to cut that profile. So we'll use some double-sided tape to tape that on, and then use the pattern bit on the router to route that profile, so it should come out pretty well. So now on to routing. I cut my first one with the pattern bit on the router, and one lesson learned is this 1/4 inch ply is almost too small to have enough room to ride on the bearing of that bit. And so now that I have 2 of them, I'm going to leave those taped together. So now I have a little thicker pattern to go by. I'm taking all the rest of the ones I have, stack them all up, and I am going to put them together with a few brad nails so that I can do these all at once and have a thicker pattern. And I thought is I'm going to put the brad nails right on the edges, so once I pull them out too, the holes left by the brad nails will actually be inside of the dado, so they should be visible. So we'll see how well this goes. Now everything is sanded. That took a while. And now we are ready for assembly. We're going to put it all together with glue and brad nails. So let's get to that. finished. Got it all assembled and painted. We've got drawers and drawer knobs. My drawers have dividers in them so I can keep all my different size nails separated. Just take them out of the box, but put them into the little troughs that the dividers provide. So one thing is, it is very heavy. Realize how heavy all those nails are at the bottom, so it'll be interesting how well this hangs on the wall, or if it ever falls off the wall. A couple things I would have done differently now that I've got it put together. I designed it for my tallest gun, but in hindsight, I think I would have been fine making this a little shorter and letting that gun stick up above. Since everything else is smaller, it really just seems to dwarf everything else. So it would have been nice to have it a little shorter. I also think I could have made the drawers a little shorter as well. They don't need to be quite as deep as they are for the staples as well as the nails. The drawers themselves, they're functional. They slide okay, but not great. But it's not like I expect to get in and out of it a lot, so I can live with that for now. But overall, I like it. It serves its purpose. It's going to find a good home on the wall behind me and have a nice organized place to keep all of my nail guns and staple guns and all the supplies that go with them. Hope you enjoyed this build. Hit that like button if you did, and if you're so inclined, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. With the router bit, with my router and a straight, what is it called?